Oh, sure. Well, not me, like you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. For sure.
I think it's so funny because, like, I mean, you heard about the glasses thing, right?
Well, I haven't heard like the extent of it, but I know this dude doesn't wear them when he's supposed to.
So, all right, for the longest time, right, as long as I've known Scott, which has been 5, maybe 6 years now, right?
Yeah.
I've never seen this dude in glasses unless they were sunglasses, but he would always, like, squint, right? And so finally, between his friends and his girlfriend, everybody gave him enough shit, and he finally went to the optometrist.
Okay.
Turns out this dude is blind as a fucking bat, like almost as bad as me, right?
Okay.
And it's just so funny because, like, it, like, dawned on me. I was like, oh my god, all those times fucking make sense. He can't play first-person shooters. He's fucking blind. And so now, whenever he's doing bad at Halo, we just go, Scott, are your glasses on?
Get your fucking glasses on, bro.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's just everything just finally made sense. But even when he wears them, it doesn't help much. It's a little upsetting.
For show. All right, hold on. Make sure everything looks good and sounds good, and then we'll get it cracking. You know.
Cool.
Hold up again.
Wait a minute.
But,
even when he wears
oh God.
It doesn't help much. It's a little.
All right, it looks good and sounds good to me. I want to make sure all my boxes are checked along the way, and then we should be good to get it cracking. Make sure we're good. Sounds coming in just fine. Oh, Odie, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. That was new. All right. So, Gabe, are you ready?
I think this is the part where I give you like a really short answer. It's like, yeah, and then you go like, okay, and then we sit in silence, and the little song goes.
Well, when I'm feeling up to inserting it,
dude, you know what's hilarious? My favorite thing about like working in post is it's like golf, and I hate golf, but I love post work, right? And it's like the ideal is to have the least amount of post work possible. You get in, you get the fuck out, and publish your whatever you're doing, right?
Correct.
I think that's funny, but yeah, I think I'm ready.
Well, I actually, like a total side note, and I don't mean to prolong this this pre-roll, but the reason why I haven't really been using it is because for whatever reason, I can't tell why, but it sounds like shit when I insert it into the feed after the fact.
I wonder what kind of signal you're getting out of the recording from Twitch. OBS?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about when I insert it directly into the feed, like not even like running it through Twitch. I'm talking about like post when I actually tried to enter it. For whatever reason, it doesn't sound the way that it used to.
I wonder if the bit rate is different on the two files, and then it tries to auto convert the intro to a lower one, which I'm assuming is what the podcast jargon would be.
Yeah, that's probably right, but I don't have the time or the energy to even begin to fix that.
Sure.
Anyway, are you ready?
Yeah.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Secondcitykids podcast, episode number 173.
173.
And we are back on the south side of Chicago, Illinois. This is your boy, Jacob. And, of course, as always, my co-host extraordinaire, we have...
me. That's me.
That's Gabe.
I'm the co-host extraordinaire.
Yeah, you would think that after 100 and some odd episodes that he would have this down to a science, but alas, here we are.
Alas.
We are back, and it's been about a little under a month for our most recent show. And basically, Gabe, how have you been, buddy? Good.
I've been busy. I just came back from Ohio. Did some videography work there. We'll get into that.
Okay.
It's been a mix, but like a good mix of like keeping yourself busy, celebrating the holidays, and just shit like that. So I can't complain too much. It's been a good month or so.
Cool. Excellent. And as far as us here at the headquarters, we are good. Elisana celebrated her 4th birthday, which to me is
crazy,
completely baffling. I don't understand where all the time went. I can't believe how big she's gotten. We went to the zoo for her birthday. and we had a blast. We had a lot of fun. Both sides of the family were there. After that, we had some pizza at a local joint around here, and we had a good time. The day before, we actually went to my first Sox game of the year, and anybody who knows me, I'm a gigantic Chicago White Sox fan, but I haven't really had the chance to go yet this year, finances being what they are, and us finally getting back on our feet. I'm like, you know what? Let's splurge a little bit, right? So we went to a thing called the Sox Crawl, which is much like a beer crawl that you do like at bars in your local area, but basically they opened the stadium about 4 hours early for us, and before the game started. And they had all their little stands and beer places open, and we were able to get in for a little bit cheaper to get our pregame going in the stadium. Surprisingly packed. And I would say it's probably my first big event since the pandemic. So, kind of weird. I'm not really sure if I'm used to ready to get back assimilated into society. But yeah, we had a good time. Unfortunately, we lost. Don't get me started. But we're on a roll. We're playoff bound. And I'm a happy boy for now. Just wait till you see me in October. I'm not going to be so happy. I'm going to be very agitated and angry because I'm a very angry sports fan, as we all know. So
yeah, sports.
Exactly. But other than that, we're good. We're Gucci. Having a good old time. Works great. Everything's great. So it is what it is.
Cool beans. Let's do the thing where we dive right into this, I guess.
Sure.
All right. So on the notes here, right?
Okay.
I put, how do you want it to go? Now, let me explain why I put this.
Okay.
So I fell down another YouTube rabbit hole, and it was on the topic of the death penalty, right?
Okay.
Now, whether or not you support it, whatever, but let me give you the short of it, right? Drug manufacturers stopped making they stopped selling the mix of drugs for the lethal injection to jails about 6 years ago.
Okay.
So what jails have been doing, excuse me, is that they've been making their own cocktails. Now, already bad to start with, but yeah. Apparently the lethality of this cocktail is fucking all over the place. Some people survived it. Ooh. Some people, the paralysis part didn't work and they were totally awake as they asphyxiated.
Ugh.
Some people didn't die for over like 6 or 7 minutes. They were just in agonizing pain because their body could not retain the oxygen.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And it's a little wild to me, right? And then, just to kind of wrap this up, some states allow you to pick which way you want to go.
Okay.
And I thought that was interesting. So, how would you want to go?
In the event that I got the death penalty?
Yeah.
Man, that's a good question, actually, because as much, I'm kind of a little bitch, and I think I'd want to go the least painful way possible.
I have mine picked out.
Go ahead.
So, and I think this is the coolest and most humane way, right?
Okay.
Firing squad.
Oh, okay.
Firing squad. Put on a blindfold, give me my last cigarette, and we'll call it a day.
I think that's fair, actually.
I
think...
especially now...
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, especially now, because, you think lethal injection, and you're like, oh, it's over in, 2 minutes, right? But it's like, no, dude, apparently it's gotten, really, bad.
They're troubleshooting this bitch as we speak.
And, it's kind of funny, because the lethal injection was meant to replace the electric chair, which was seen as inhumane by all standards, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now it's I don't know, we had a system with the firing squad thing for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, in today's sort of day and age, it seems like that's still sort of the best way to go out humanely, as far as I know, right?
I'm thinking guillotine.
Guillotine?
Yeah, I think that would be as long as it's like one of those old school guillotines that come down super fast.
A French guillotine, right?
Yeah, where it's got to come down fast and hard, and I don't feel anything, and that
yeah, I'm sure your wife would love that one.
I mean, hey, man, if you deserve the death penalty, why not have your head on a stake somewhere?
Yeah, so a little bit of morbid talk.
What a fucking topic to open up the pod. I like it.
I just, dude, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know, even if I was fucking Russians invaded, I'd want to go that way.
Fair enough. I think firing squad would probably just like you said, blindfold, turn around. That's it, you know?
Yeah. Like I said, give me my last cigarette and then done.
On your way. On your way to the afterlife.
It's one of those things where it just kind of like seeped into my head like, well, okay. Anyway, let's talk movies, TVs, and books.
Sure.
So Candyman is right around the corner.
Isn't it out?
Isn't
it out already?
Well, let me find out. I haven't been on the fun side of the internet in a little bit.
So you've been on the unfun side of the internet.
I've been on the work side of internet.
Oh,
it is out currently.
Yeah.
It is out currently. Okay, so they had this viral, I don't want to say viral, but it went viral, marketing campaign where if you went to the Candyman site and you said Candyman, what is it, 3 or 5 times in your phone?
3 times.
It would show you the final trailer for it. And I just thought that was so sort of on brand with what this movie and like lore is.
I like it.
Yeah, I was just like, where was this for like Bloody Mary or like, you know what I mean? Like if you have a spooky critter that has a spooky saying, like lean into it. Like, sure, gimmicky, all right. Good, absolutely.
I agree. I would have to agree with that if I'm being 100% honest.
That sounds like some shit Kojima would think of.
It does actually sound like something Kojima would think of.
I think we mentioned it on a way older podcast, but for those of you who don't know, for PT when he was still working on it, the grand plan was for you to have for you to sign up with your PlayStation email. And you would get emails from the game at like random times when you hit certain points throughout the story that would tell you like, hey, don't go in there, or like, hey, like, do this. Yeah, the mind of a madman.
That's right? So he's a lunatic.
He's all over the place, but I don't know. I just thought it was fun. I thought I'd bring it up. And what are your thoughts?
What movie, game, music has had the marketing campaign that has impressed you the most?
Are we including game?
Yes.
Halo 3, hands down, nothing will come close to it.
What do they do?
Dude, okay, so first of all, let me set the scene. Halo 1 was an unexpected, like, war cry of a game. It came out of nowhere and it took everybody by the balls, right?
Correct.
Then Halo 2 came out, and Halo 2, I know you didn't play through the story yet, but you should if you ever get bored. It leaves you on a massive cliffhanger, right? And there was a lot of things they did, a lot of good stuff, a lot of things that fans were like, oh my god, like blah blah blah. When Halo 3 came out, right, the one to finish it all, right, like the game to wrap up the trilogy, which is a lie now, but everybody was already like excited for the last Halo. But their marketing campaign was they hired older actors and they put them in this fake museum that they built, and these dudes were like scripted to be veterans of the Human Covenant War. And so they would see like, you know, like the alien weapons on display, and they'd be like, yeah, well, you know, the brutes would use these like this, blah, blah, blah. And dude, just the music, the acting, the fucking like seriousness of it all was so on point that every time you saw one of those, you just got the chills right down your spine. And then you saw the little Halo logo and you're like, dude, I can't fucking wait.
Okay, fair enough.
It was like, you want to talk about like marketing genius? Halo 3, like seriously, like you don't even need to have played Halo 3. If you look up those commercials, you will get the fucking tone that they were going for. Like it was immaculate. Just the execution of it all.
Interesting. Very, very cool. All right, well, I think for me it would probably have to be Cloverfield.
That was a good one too.
Yeah, because I was in the middle of the MySpace madness back then, and it was just everywhere. That and Paranormal Activity. Where actually I got to add a topic on here near the end of this because apparently we'll talk about it. But yeah, so that'd probably be the one that takes the cake for me. But yeah, man, let's what else we got? Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. So you have recently kind of sort of gotten back into the Marvel thing, right? Because
loosely, sure.
Because you know, there was a couple years there where you're just like, you know what, I'm all superheroed out. I'm interested, and I understand, but. They dropped a new Spider-Man trailer recently, right? And now, for whatever reason, a lot of people felt like we weren't getting any information about this movie, and it's supposed to be coming out relatively soon. And everybody's like, where's the trailer, man? Where's the Marvel trailer, right? And they finally dropped it. And basically, it's kind of taking a Peter Parker who has been exposed to the world as Spider-Man. Spoiler alert, I guess, if you haven't seen the Spider-Man movie. And basically, he goes to Doctor Strange and be like, hey, man, like, I can't do with this attention. There's a reason why I got the secret identity. Let's fix this, right? And while they're trying to fix it, he's like, well, wait, I want all my friends to still know and stuff like that. And he's like, it doesn't work like that. And basically he got sucked into a different timeline, I guess. Sort of. I don't know. Like an alternative timeline. Have you seen this trailer?
Yes, I have. It looks very good. I'm excited to see the sort of strange Spidey interaction, right?
Yeah.
I just love how all the New York motherfuckers were just going wild when we saw the Doctor Strange fit. I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
My whole thing is that I feel like the sort of precedent of this movie, because you get to see people that are holding up like, oh, like you're a fucking murderer, like you caused all this, blah, 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 right? Just sort of general crowdsfolk to Spidey. My whole thing is this is the precedent that should have been there for Civil War that we never got.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see this sort of, man versus world dynamic or man versus society dynamic brought up again.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that it's not just the first 5 or 10 minutes of the movie and then it's brushed off completely. Like, I want to see people be upset. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
The X-Men did it, not in the movies. It wasn't pulled off well. Civil War, same thing. They have a whole fucking comic arc. But movies wasn't pulled off well. I want to see people pissed from supervillains.
Okay.
And superheroes. But I'm excited. It looks good. It looks fun. I got to catch up on my Spideys because I do intend to watch this one.
Yeah. And obviously Alfred Molina back as Doc Ock. They haven't shown us.
Oh, how cool of a reveal was that?
Yeah, it was so fucking cool. And obviously they've showed us some snippets of other villains that they haven't revealed yet, as far as like who's actually playing them. So they showed us a little bit of Electro. We saw the pumpkin bomb from one of the goblins. Haven't really
Hobgoblin, hopefully.
Yeah, we haven't really gotten like who and what. Like I wonder if William Dafoe is back as one of the goblins, or if we get
I'll eat my shoe if he's back.
Yeah, where we get Jamie Foxx back as Electro from the other movies. Like, there's some things up in the air about this, and I think that's why everybody wanted to see it. And I think they showed us the right amount of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to keep us intrigued, and it looks really, really fucking cool. And I'm just glad Alfred Molina's back because I think of that original Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, he was by far the best villain. By far. So, I'm very excited to see him back.
Cool beans. Let's talk Woodstock 99.
All right. So, it's actually a documentary that is on HBO about the Woodstock 99. What do you know about Woodstock 99?
Not much. I know my dad was at the very first Woodstock, the 4-day fucking shit show.
Yeah. So, this is very similar in the fact that it was a total shit show. And basically, they were breaking down like why it failed so bad, or why was it such a mess, essentially, right? And 99's lineup included people like DMX, Limp Bizkit, Korn, Metallica, stuff like that, right? And for a lot of people, I guess kind of the general populist beliefs is that it's kind of the antithesis of everything that the original Woodstock was about, right? Kind of tranquility, peace, calm, and obviously the original Woodstock was a shit show to a certain extent. I would say to a large extent. I think, and this documentary kind of made a case for it. We often romanticize it, but it was far from the perfect event, right? So basically Woodstock 99 took a very violent turn. Basically coming down with the crowd destroying a large chunk of the venue that it was contained in, right? And kind of just how the MTV era had kind of ruined the idea of Woodstock. And they even had like footage of like Carson Daly getting like bottles thrown at him while he would show up at Woodstock 99, because everybody was very anti like MTV, right? Because that was like the era of like the boy band and Britney Spears and NSYNC, right? Like, so obviously when you have a fucking show with Metallica in it and Limp Bizkit in like the era of Limp Bizkit when they were like the biggest band in the world, people are going to react a certain way. And basically it kind of breaks down everything that went wrong from top to bottom. And I don't understand, and I don't know. I've organized events before. Obviously nothing ever to even remotely close to the scale of Woodstock. But I don't understand how these guys who plan these events, how do they not see where they went wrong? They had this dude who's like, oh, I think it would have been fine if this didn't happen. And so everybody's like, well, no, there was a lot of problems that you're just choosing to ignore. You know what I mean? And it was a very interesting documentary. Obviously, we haven't had an event since. They tried to do it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, that they ended up canceling because I feel like every time the idea comes up, people forget about all the work that goes into having to plan it. You know, it's not an easy project, you know. Just a very interesting documentary. Very well done. There were some pundits that they had, like talking heads, that just made me fucking roll my eyes because just they just spew bullshit. Like they don't even know what the fuck, you know what I mean? Like they don't even know what they're talking about. So, I thought it was kind of funny, kind of interesting, and kind of an interesting look back at the time, 99, you know, before the Y2K stuff, and obviously the world has changed drastically since then. But I think Woodstock is an idea best left in the past. That's kind of where my mindset is with that.
Sure, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, so cool documentary. Check it out, especially if you want to go laugh because some of these people have such bad takes. It's insane. But yeah, very cool documentary. I definitely would recommend it.
Cool, let's keep moving. So my girlfriend and I watched a movie called Stardust a few weeks ago. Do you know anything about this?
I do not.
So, okay, it is a movie in a fantasy setting, otherworldly. First and foremost, before I dive into it, it was great, it was excellent, it was fun, and it was a blast. But something like itched me in the back of my head when the movie wrapped up. I was like, man, they kind of moved through all that stuff fast, but there was no like holes, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, this was definitely a novel, right? And so I looked it up, and of course it's a Neil Gaiman novel. Okay. But anyhow, I just wanted to say that it's a fucking phenomenal film to watch. Okay. It's on Netflix, so if you ever get a chance, it's a good spin on like the classic hero's tale. Like it fulfills some of those needs and necessities and requirements for that, but at the same time it does a lot of fun stuff in between to sort of keep the pacing, and like there's never a dull moment in the movie, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. If you haven't seen it, like I said, it's on Netflix. The movie's called Stardust. It's from like 08, 09-ish, somewhere around there.
All right, cool, excellent. I'll definitely have to give that a look. All right,
cool. Let's wind it back to Woodstock 99.
Yeah, let's go back to 99 real quick.
So, Matrix dropped a new trailer. Mm-hmm. Matrix Revolutions, was that it?
No, Resurrection. Matrix Revolution already existed. I don't know why I put it up there like that. My bad.
I was like, I thought this one was already.
Yeah, Matrix Resurrections was called, plural.
What do you think?
Outside of Resurrections being one of the most overused titles for sequels in the history of history, I want to see it because it's Keanu and he's a national treasure, even though he's not even from here. He's Canadian, but I don't know what it is. There's just something about it that's leaving a lot to be desired in my mind. I think they just missed the opportunity to call it Matrix Rebooted because it works because it's like a computer. Get it? Like reboot, computer. I don't know why the fuck they didn't just call it that. I know I'm kind of hanging up on the name a little bit, but it's kind of like, you know, it's the same characters but taking place sometime after the last one, and he doesn't know who he is, but he does, but he doesn't. You know what I mean? No Lawrence Fishburne, which I got negative feelings about because I like Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus, even though it kind of looks like they tried to recast him as Morpheus, did it not? Yeah, I mean, kind of hit or miss. I will watch it because I stand by the fact that the original Matrix might be one of the greatest action movies ever made. And I think they progressively got worse over time, but the first one was for sure was really, really good. And I'm just curious on where the story is going to go with this. What do you think?
I mean, I'll tell you this. I'm really excited for it, actually. I know a lot of people are like, oh, the last two are garbage, or the last two are garbage. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, at the bare minimum, you're going to get Keanu whooping some ass, mm-hmm. and you're going to get some good fucking action sequences. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if it was the second or third one, but that car chase on the highway.
Second one.
Dude, that was a phenomenal sequence. Sure, mm-hmm. the story got all convoluted and messy and stuff, but mm-hmm. that car chase sequence, you know, they literally built their own fucking highway for that.
I did hear that, yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, at the bare minimum, you're going to get something that's going to keep you entertained for about 2 hours with some good gunplay, with some interesting, you know, shit going out and about. And at the end of the day, The Matrix, you know what? As deep and as philosophical as it tries to be in the latter two movies.
Tries to be. That's the key word.
And some of the points hit, some of the points miss, but at the end of the day, if you're going in for a solid action film, I think you'll get exactly that. I think you'll get more than you bargained for if that's your expectation.
I think that's probably true. It's just, I don't know, like, I'm not on the bandwagon that, like, 2 and 3 were horrible. Like I said, I think they definitely got worse. I would say 2 is still a very good movie, and I would say that 3 is a good movie, but it just got really kind of confusing near the end, I think that goes without saying.
Hey, man, I totally understand. Sometimes, the old anecdote or saying, I guess, where it's like, you can't take back what was said.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that doesn't apply here because people do reboots all the time. But anyhow, they're out there, right? They've sort of, it's there. You got to deal with it, whether you want to or not.
Correct. Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I'm excited. I'm going to go see it.
It's coming out Christmas, so it should be kind of interesting time for it. But I think appropriate time because I don't think we have a whole lot lined up around December. No.
Yeah, I think obviously they're not going to do a yearly thing, but I think it'll be a good suited sort of Christmassy blockbuster feel.
For sure, I agree with that. Cool. So mixed feelings. I am cautiously optimistic about it because I want to. Cool. I know I definitely want to like it. I know that for a fact. So let's go ahead and move it along
to a movie that you are excited for, Bob's Burgers, the movie.
Not so much me. I am a Bob's Burgers fan. My wife is the much bigger fan. My daughter is a mega fan too. This is something that's been in the works for a while, from what I understand, and kind of cool. I guess, Simpsons was around for 15 years, 20 years before they finally got their movie. So,
yeah,
it's good for Bob and his burgers that he got his movie, I guess. And, obviously it has some kind of draw and attraction to it because they wouldn't make it without it. Right. You have an opinion on the matter?
I have not consumed Bob's Burgers like that. See what I did there? But, maybe it's time.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think there's some really, really good stuff in there. There are some episodes that make me roll my eyes a little bit, but there's some genuine moments where I'm cracking up during some of the Bob's Burgers episodes. So yeah,
I mean, it had a solid run all the way through.
Yeah, for sure. And they have some really, really good episodes. Like a couple Halloween ones were really good. So definitely gonna check it out. My wife's gonna give me zero option in the matter. I'm gonna have to go see it with her, which is not necessarily a bad thing. We have a lot of good fucking movies coming out this next month, man. One of them we're gonna be talking about in a minute. But yeah, man, it's gonna get interesting. I'm glad that the movies are starting to ramp up a little bit. And yeah,
back in action, baby.
Yes, sir. So
put aside $34 for popcorn and Reese's Pieces.
Absolutely. Reese's Pieces for sure. Absolutely. But yeah, speaking of kind of a Christmassy kind of vibe, segue fail kind of sort of, I don't know. Hawkeye, the Hawkeye trailer dropped, featuring Haley Steinfeld. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she was in True Grit. She was at the age of 17. Basically, I love all her work. She's a really, really good actress, and she's working with Jeremy Renner in this new Hawkeye show. All right? And the reason why I said it was kind of a segue kind of sort of is because it seems to be taking place during Christmas. All of this stuff.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, all of this stuff is kind of taking place during Christmas, and all of these shows have been very, very good. I know I say it every single time one of them gets brought up, but all these Disney Plus shows have been fire throughout, and I have no doubt in my mind that this will be fire as well. Now, the only thing that I am kind of seeing an issue with is that in Endgame, I think we had a ton of great character development with Hawkeye's character as he became Ronin, right? And as a dad, I could speak to that because, like I said, my reaction would be very similar to his. Obviously, he's a super mega badass, but I would be very, very negative about my viewpoints on the world if something happened to my wife and kids as well. He had a lot of interesting character development, and this seems to kind of push that under the rug a little bit. So we'll have to kind of wait and see on what's going to happen with that. But yeah, it looks great. So I definitely will be checking it out this winter for sure.
Cool beans. So we got a trailer for a movie that we're very excited about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about it?
No, I'm not watching any more trailers. I'm just going to watch the movie.
Well, it's the final trailer, so there will be.
I know.
There will be another. There won't be another trailer, so that's good.
I know.
Okay.
But go ahead, give me your review of it.
I will say one thing only, and I think you and I are probably on the same bandwagon. It's getting to the point where I think they are starting to show too much. Too much. Just a little bit, because I'm starting to put things together based on certain scenes, based on the other trailer and stuff like that. Like, I'm able to kind of put these things together. And I think it's a little bit too much. Just a smidge. But that's kind of what I am going to say. I am no less excited for this film as I was the first time we talked about it. It looks very violent, which I'm all for. Yeah, that's going to be kind of my opinion on the matter. We have 4 more weeks until this thing drops. Yep. Also on Peacock, randomly, I didn't hear that was in the works until they dropped the trailer with it, that it will be available on Peacock. Me and Adrian actually talked about it. We're like, man, do we just invite all our friends over and family and just fucking watch it on the big screen all together, or do we just go to the theaters? And we decided that we're going to go to the theaters for it. But
don't get me wrong, that option is nice.
Yeah.
But for a movie like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure once it drops and it's out and about, you and I will have a lot to discuss. So, much similar to that first one, the 2018 one, when that dropped, you and I basically talked about it for like an hour.
For a whole ass episode.
Yeah, just about. Yeah. So, very excited. I will say that I feel like this trailer shared a little bit too much. That's my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. Good thing I didn't watch it then.
Yeah, for sure. Next up, speaking of horror, I guess, and reboots, I guess Paranormal Activity is getting a reboot. Mixed feelings about the Paranormal Activity franchise as a whole. I think the first one was really, really good. I thought the second one was okay. I thought the third one was confusing, and I stopped watching them after that.
Fair enough.
And there's like a lot of lore there, which I know there's like large or small creepy pockets of the internet that are like really dedicated to the Paranormal Activity lore. And I think there's some good stuff there. But there is such a thing, kind of similar to the Matrix, of overstepping your bounds and trying to reverse engineer lore into movies that make it too convoluted and annoying. And Paranormal Activity definitely jumped the shark in that regard. So,
Yeah, I have no take on the lore matter. Because I know I get sucked into that shit really easy. So I've decided not to poke the bear.
Okay.
But I know some people like live and die for the lore of those movies, which I think is hilarious, right? Because you think I don't want to call it found footage, but essentially, right? When you think of a movie that started off as fucking found footage film, like what lore, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like the best lore out of a found footage is probably like Cloverfield or Blair Witch, in my opinion.
I would say probably Blair Witch takes the cake on that.
I mean, because it's so simple, right?
Yeah, correct.
Or like Quarantine. I mean, there's a couple of them, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple, but that's not the first thing you think of. You think about the claustrophobia, the uncertainness, was it the camera shaking or was it actually there?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it's, from what I'm understanding, it's going to Paramount Plus, which I didn't even know Paramount had their own streaming service, which probably mitigates my opportunity to see this because I have enough streaming services. So, yeah, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. Hopefully it gets like a wider release. But
yeah, let's get some more hats in the ring.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not the worst thing right now once the showbiz gets back up and running.
Yeah, I suppose more outlets for these people to release their stuff, I guess. But
it's funny because I had a scalding hot rant a few months ago about mediocrity, and now I'm just like, yeah, fuck it, toss it in.
we need more. We need everything. But yeah, so before we move on to the gaming section of this podcast, I did mention to you that I did have a little bit of a game. Now thinking about it, or not a game, more so of a segment. Now, thinking about it, I think you actually pitched something very similar a very long time ago on this podcast, where essentially you're going to take something and rewrite it, right?
Okay.
Now, what I'm intentionally doing is that I'm going to be doing sequels to whatever, right? Now, because the next episode will be taking place in October, I'm sure, I will be rewriting a particular film. It is Halloween 6. The Curse of Michael Myers. there's a couple things that you have to, a couple rules, I guess. Number one, you got to keep the title, so you can't change the title of anything. So the title has to make sense. Number two, anything that has been placed into lore up to that point has to stay. All right. So in the case of The Curse of Michael Myers, there's that stupid thorn thing that nobody knew what the fuck it was. That's in play, and him escaping from the prison with the man in black. That also stays. So I've actually already started on it, and I'm actually quite happy with what I got so far. I'm not going to try to make it super wordy. I'm really not. I'm not actually going to sit here for an hour and a half and try to pitch to you my movie frame by frame. I'm just going to give you kind of a general outline of what I want it to be, and we're going to go from there. Now, you could participate in this if you want. You could kind of think of maybe something along the lines that you want to do if you want to. If not, this is probably something I'll knock out, maybe a couple of times a year when we do the show.
Cool.
And I don't.
So I'm not limited to the same movie you're doing, right?
No. You could do whatever you want. Now, if you want to come in next week with your own pitch for Halloween 6, go ahead and do that. You don't have to though. So basically, it's going to be kind of like the pitcher pitches the film, the other person says how they did, essentially. All right, and maybe do some comparisons with the original, et cetera, et cetera. So,
just to clarify, we are rewriting a sequel. We're not writing a new sequel.
Correct. So you are taking something that's already existing. You can't do Star Wars 10 as an example. You know what I mean?
Damn.
You'll do.
I got to go back to the drawing board then.
Yeah. So
okay, that's fine. So you just keep the skeleton and do whatever the fuck you want on the organs.
Correct. Yes, you have to keep whatever was already there in the lore, and that's why I picked Halloween 6 because I'm like, man.
Good setup.
Yeah, I bet you I could write something that wasn't totally trash because Halloween 6 was totally trash. So, yeah, like I said, I've already started it. I've already kind of pitched it to other people, and they're like, "Oh, that sounds pretty good." My wife's like, "Oh, that's really good." I'm like, "Oh, sweet." So, the next podcast episode, like I said, which will be taking place in October, no doubt. I will be pitching to you my version, what I would have done with Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers. So, book it. That's getting done next episode.
Cool beans. That sounds like a fun idea. I know we did the movie remakes with the twists. I had a blast with those.
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said,
I think
similar vein.
I think my favorite one of the bunch was Aladdin, but from Genie's point of view.
That was a good one. That was a really, really good one. So, yeah, like I said, with the pitch, you can get as detailed as you want. If you want to give me just kind of general ideas, you can even do that as well. Really dependent on you and really dependent on what you pick. So, that's going to be kind of the deal.
Cool. Let's talk gaming. So the first thing I put on here is retro game prices. So I watched the video about 4 weeks ago. It's by Carl Jobst, Jobst. The video is entitled "Exposing Fraud and Deception in the Retro Video Game Market." It's about an hour long.
Okay.
And that seems like a lot for a YouTube video, but knowing us, that's just scratching the surface. So, have you noticed that in the past decade, sealed 64s of Super Mario World have been going for $10,000, and then suddenly it was $100,000, and so on and so forth?
Yes, sir.
Do you want the long or you want the short?
Give me the long.
No, I'm going to give you the short.
Okay. Why you asked me?
So first of all, let me put this disclaimer out there. I'm going to give you a summary of the details. Mm-hmm. You should definitely go in and watch this fucking video because it is super informative. It is well done. Carl Jobst is an excellent writer, documenter, whatever you want to fucking call him.
Okay.
And only give you so much detail from my tiny little squirrel brain. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's so much easier to see it all up on screen and sort of digest it yourself. So here's what's been happening. The same motherfuckers from the 80s who sold quote-unquote collectible coins, right?
Okay.
They are in manipulation control of the retro video game market.
Okay.
And if you wonder why somebody just bought a mint condition, Super Mario World or whatever the fuck it is for $1.5 million, you need to sit down and watch this thing because I promise you, this shit goes harder than half the documentaries on Netflix. It is so deep and it is so fucking infuriating. By the time you're done with it, you're just like, dude, what the fuck?
Okay, interesting. I'm intrigued.
So, yeah, like I said, we could spend 2, 3, 4 hours talking about this, but I think you should go and watch it. I think everybody listening should go and watch it if you have any interest in retro video games and sort of the market, because we saw what happened with Pokemon in the past 3 years, right?
For sure, yeah.
We saw what happened with I mean, Magic never went away, right?
Yeah.
It's just always been expensive for the nicer ones. But we're sort of seeing trends happen. Yeah. And now video games are under duress of that trend.
Interesting. Okay.
So, yeah, this dude is absolutely brilliant. Highly recommend the video. Highly recommend the channel. But I thought I'd bring it up because it's good fucking content.
Okay. I got you. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I definitely checked it out. Sounds interesting. Next up, the new Call of Duty alpha and beta have dropped. The beta is still going on as we speak. They extended it. The short version of this, basically, it feels like Modern Warfare 2019. It feels good. Gunplay's great. I don't care that they took liberties with attachments, even though you and I have a buddy that will take great offense to this. But so far, so good. I like what I see. It feels great. Like I said, they're on that same engine. And I've mentioned this to basically everybody who would listen to me talk about it, is that I am the biggest Call of Duty Treyarch fanboy, right? So all the Black Ops games basically are like my jam. And I think maybe 3 of the Black Ops games are in my top 5 Call of Duties of all time. But I think it's time for me to concede that this engine just feels better. You know what I mean? Like it just feels better. I don't know what else I could say about it. And I've missed it. I like Cold War, but it doesn't feel like this, you know? And I'm interested to see what the polished product looks like at the end. But what I find most intriguing about this, and you know, because it's never been done before, is that this game, which is made by Sledgehammer, has an engine made by Infinity Ward, will have zombies made by Treyarch in this game.
We have the whole ass trifecta.
Yeah, the whole basically, some might say the best parts of everything Call of Duty are in this game. Treyarch Zombies is back, which I think is very interesting. Because, you know, people can say what they want about the World War II stuff, the zombie stuff, because I think that first map was really, really good, and everything else after that, like, sucked. I think it's necessary to kind of continue the storyline with zombies moving forward just to have Treyarch do it. Let's let them do it. You know what I mean? They got the whole thing down to a science. They know what they're doing when it comes to the zombie stuff. And like I said, people can say what they want about the multiplayer. I fucking love the zombies in Cold War. I think it's fantastic. And some of the most fun I've had playing zombies, in probably about a decade. So, yeah, very, very, very cool. And, very interesting. I wish they would collaborate more on these type of things. And maybe
I mean, we're sort of at that point where everybody's had their run of the mill, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's nice to see this cross collaboration at work.
Yes, especially for that zombies. I'm excited. So,
it's gonna be good.
Yes, sir. So, that's kind of my opinion overall on the beta. I've been playing it a lot on stream, twitch.tv/brilliantvillain. Yeah, so I'm very much interested in seeing how it shapes up moving forward. Got a couple, maybe like another month or 2 before it drops. So, we'll check it out and, definitely have a full blown review once the actual full game releases.
Cool. I read a cute little article about our boy James McAvoy.
Okay.
I thought it was fucking hilarious. So when he was doing the movie thing, sweet baby Jesus, I used to be so good with words when we did this podcast. When he was acting and becoming Jane, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's around the time the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion came out.
Okay.
This dude was hooked on the game. Like, he would play it all night, get no sleep, and the cab would pick him up at 6 a.m. to go film for fucking 14 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said that at one point he had to literally burn the disc because he was so fucking hooked. I just thought it was hilarious because you see James McAvoy and you're like, oh, you know, it's just like this traditionally sort of handsome dude, right, who's also an actor.
Yeah.
And then it's like, dude, I fucking love Oblivion. You know, no judgment here. I just thought it was fucking hilarious because we've all been there. We've all had that 1 or 2 games where we're just like, I need more.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that's kind of funny. He just burned the disc because he couldn't take it anymore.
He was like, I know if I don't destroy it, like, I'll go back to it. So he had to burn it.
It's like fucking crack.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, very, very cool. Interesting little story. When he said, how did you find this out? It was just like an article?
It just popped up on my feed one of these days, and I was like, yeah, I like James McAvoy. Yeah, I like the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Let's see what those two have to do with each other.
Interesting. Okay. Very, very cool. So, kind of a big deal. the Sony PlayStation 2021 showcase happened, right? So we talked about the death of E3 as we know it, and a lot of these companies are doing their own thing. Sony's like not even close to when E3 happened. So they're like, you know what, we're just going to do our own thing. And they actually dropped and announced a whole bunch of really, really cool stuff. So we're just going to kind of go in line, and we're going to kind of gauge our interest in this. I know you're going to have interest in some things over the others. Basically, they opened up with a bomb. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Remake will be coming to the PlayStation 5. No date yet, because I imagine that it's going to be a while. But how do you feel?
Well, you know how I feel.
I do know how you feel.
This is one of, if not my favorite game of all time, period.
Uh-huh.
I do a yearly playthrough. I know it like the back of my hand. I'm very excited for it. They didn't give us goddamn ounce of anything.
Nothing.
But holy shit, everybody's freaking out over it.
Yes.
You know, I spoke my piece with you about what I think they need to improve.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where it could be really, really good, and it could do the original justice. Because I think they're going to go with the original story. My hopes and intentions for it are update the graphics, tweak the engine a little bit, but at the end of the day, the OG is still very, very playable.
So I actually do have some bad news for you when it comes to that.
What?
They did kind of talk about it after the fact, and they said that it's not just going to be like a high-res version of the original game. Now, I don't know about the story. I'd imagine that they keep it really close to that story because it's a very large part of it.
I fucking hope so, because Darth Revan was in the reveal, so it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, but gameplay-wise, it's not going to be, from what I understand, it's not going to be very similar to what you're probably used to. I think.
Well, listen, if they want to go Force Unleashed with it, I'm fine. Keep the feel, keep what made it good.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I think a lot of us, I think everybody would agree that the original Knights of the Old Republic is kind of viewed as like an Xbox game, right?
And it was an Xbox exclusive, yep.
And I think it's interesting that Sony's like, okay, this is ours now. You know what I mean?
It's a quote unquote PlayStation exclusive, but it's still coming out on PC the same day. So, it's a bold move for sure. And I don't know if they intended that sort of shade towards Microsoft, but it kind of feels like it. So.
It definitely does. So, kind of a big deal. And they opened up with a bang. Came out swinging right away. Next up, Project Eve. Looks like a Bayonetta kind of style game. I'm not particularly interested in it. It looks gross. Whatever. Next up, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is a spinoff of Borderlands.
Yeah, I saw this.
Yeah.
I haven't played Borderlands 3, but the one thing the Borderlands series does is that when they do a full finish to end DLC, right, like an expansion pack, not just costume DLC, they're usually phenomenal.
Yeah. And
I would argue some of my favorite content is in the DLCs over the base game.
And this looks really fucking good. I have to admit, this shit looks really, really cool. So
yeah.
Now the only problem with me is that the art style gives me a headache. So I don't know if I'll even be able to play it. But
yeah, I mean, fair enough, man. If it gives you a headache, you can't control that.
Yeah, but it looked really fucking cool. They had baby metal in the fucking trailer. Pretty cool.
Yeah, they did. They had a DLC in 2 where it was Tiny Tina. She was doing like Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and so you sort of played as a character going through that campaign. It was really cute and funny, and there's a lot of good shit going on, especially if you sort of like knew your stuff. You know what I mean? And then at the end, it was like heartwarming, but also very heart wrenching because one of the main characters in 2 dies, and she's just like, you know, he has a character in the DLC, like in the D&D campaign, and everybody's like Tina, like he's dead. You have to let it go. You know what I mean? And it was just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, it looks like they're taking that and they're making a full game out of that, basically, essentially, was what it looks like. So very, very cool. Next up, Square Enix, Forspoken. Don't know a whole lot about it. All I know is that it looks fantastic, and I'm going to get it. Ubisoft, Rainbow Six Extraction. I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
I'm
see.
open to the idea. We'll sort of see.
yeah, I'm basically in the same boat with you on that. Next up, Alan Wake Remaster.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it looks great. Don't know exactly who was asking for it, but Very, very cool.
Can we get like a Condemned remake or like a Manhunt remake?
That would be cool. I'd be down with that.
I mean, Alan Wake isn't as brutal as the first two, but I feel like if you're going towards that territory, why not?
I agree. Speaking of Rockstar Games, for the 15th year in a row, they're releasing Grand Theft Auto 5. Nobody cares anymore.
Cool. It's the new Skyrim at this point.
It's literally, you're 100% correct. It's literally, so I don't understand why they keep releasing this game.
GTA 5 on your toaster now.
Yep.
Great.
Essentially.
I already got Doom on there, so I'll have to uninstall it.
Ghostwire Tokyo, I feel like they've been talking about this game for fucking ever. Whatever. Moving along. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess they're doing kind of their
good.
Yeah, they're doing the kind of that Marvel Avengers thing, but hopefully better this time.
Yeah.
So that's great. Blood Hunt. Vampire Masquerade Blood Hunt, which is a BR. It's already out on PC. I actually played it a little bit already. I'll talk about that on the next show. On PC. Oh my god, I hate playing on PC. It's the worst. So yeah, Blood Hunt looks cool. We'll see what happens when it comes on console. Moving along. Well, let me take a look. A bunch of random stuff. I guess they're doing a remaster of the Uncharted Legacy.
Cool.
Which is Uncharted 4, and the game after that, which is The Lost City or whatever the fuck it was called.
Why do I feel like these Uncharteds are going to get remastered every 2 or 3 console gens? Just because Sony knows it'll always sell.
I mean, they're phenomenal. So
I mean, yeah, no disagreement on that.
Yeah.
And like, if you want to, just double the graphic fidelity every fucking decade, fine with me, right? But it's just like, how many times are you going to milk this cow?
Hey, man. It's better than them potentially trying to do a Last of Us 3. We're not going to talk about it, Gabe. We're moving on.
It's already in the works.
I don't want to talk about it. We're moving on.
Oh, really quick. I watched an interview with one of the founding members of Naughty Dog when he did Crash Bandicoot.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody who does software for a living, he is an absolute fucking madman.
Yeah.
I will send you the video, but this dude, mad genius.
Yeah, I bet.
Mad genius. Like the PS1 didn't even come out yet, and he had already hacked it. Like that's how insanely good this dude is.
Very, very cool. So yeah, next up, kind of a surprise, Insomniac game working on a Wolverine game. That looked cool. A little tidbit there that they gave us, but it looked great. And Insomniac is the same one that did the most recent Spider-Man games. I think
it'll be good.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. Next up, a game that I don't particularly care about, but I definitely understand the crowd that is in on it. Gran Turismo 7 will be out. Kind of a big deal. I know there's a lot of people who really, really love the Gran Turismo series as a whole. And Gran Turismo 7 will be out soon enough. And back to back with Insomniac, they announced Spider-Man 2. The sequel to the original one and that dropped last gen, and this also in the same obviously world as the Miles Morales game, which I played, was really, really good. A little shocking that they're announcing 2 games like that in the same conference. Thought it was interesting. Yeah. And last but not least, probably the game I'm most looking forward to, God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, they dropped a full blown trailer, and sweet Jesus, the shit just fucking hits, bro. It's hitting all the right spots. They're doing it correct, and yeah, man, I literally brought a smile to my face. I'm so fucking ready for this game to drop. And
my favorite thing was the Twitter discourse over how Thor looks in the new God of War, and people were like, "Oh, well, he's not like a shining, washboard 6-pack abs like Chris Hemsworth." And I'm like, "Yeah, and the Marvel Loki didn't fuck an 8-legged horse, so what of it?"
Yeah, that and like the way Thor looks is like the way he looked in the lore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how he looks.
It's an interpretation at the end of the day.
Yeah,
for sure. There's no wrong answer here.
For sure.
Especially because it's Santa Monica. Like, there's no wrong answer.
Yeah, for sure for them. They did announce something that I thought was very interesting, though. That Cory Balrog is actually not the director of this game.
Oh, who is?
I forget the gentleman's name, but apparently he's been at Santa Monica for quite a long time, too. He's worked on all the God of War games as well. But apparently Corey's working on something else, which I think is interesting.
Something more important than God of War?
I don't know.
Well, to be fair, I feel like with a project this big, the new guy would have for sure asked and needed Corey's blessing. So I'm not worried.
Yeah, I'm not worried either, but I just think it's interesting that Corey's working on something else.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably a new IP.
That could be it. Or maybe...
I mean, if you're pulling your top dog off of your, the fucking game that blew the lid off of 2018-19, right?
Yeah. They're pulling their top dog off their top dog, then what is he working at?
The new top dog.
Call me crazy. I think it's the next God of War he's already working on.
The one after this one?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting because basically they're like, okay, Corey, you've been pretty quiet. He's like, just so you know, he's like, I'm not the director of this one. They brought on the director and everybody's like, what's you working on? He's like, can't talk about it. And it's just like, damn. But like you said,
I don't know.
Yeah, Corey, I mean, I watch Raising Kratos. It's one of the best video game documentaries I've seen. And obviously that game meant a shit ton to him. And obviously whatever he's working on is equally as important to him. And he has like my 100% confidence to do whatever he wants. And it's not like this game is suffering in quality because look at it. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit. It looks fantastic. So I'm very much looking forward to this, obviously. So
did you beat the Valkyrie Queen yet?
No.
Okay.
I'll get to it.
Can't wait to see what they got in the next one.
Yeah, for sure. I'm thinking about streaming before the new one drops, just a playthrough of the last one and trying to get through everything before the new one drops. So
that sounds like a good way to generate views.
That's the plan. So that's what we're going to try to do. But yeah, overall, I would say that the showcase went very, very well. I think a lot of people feel the same way. They dropped a lot of heavy hitters out there. And it looks great. So I'm looking forward to all the stuff as a PlayStation fanboy myself. So
cool. Let's talk Nicktoons Brawl.
So
why are they brawling? Hey, Arnold got that football head ass.
Oh my god. So here's the deal. I don't know if you've seen any footage from this thing. But my designated fighting game guy on YouTube, Maximilian dude, basically sat through the developers talking about like the game, and it is surprisingly deep on mechanics. It's in the style of like a Super Smash, but the mechanics are like almost as deep as Super Smash, which I think a lot of people would have been safe to believe that it would have been kind of this cheap, real quick little money making project.
Turnover.
Yeah. And apparently it's not like that. I'm going to try to send you the footage that he looked at. He's like, wait a minute, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, you could do that in this game. You shouldn't be able to do that. Right. And I'm kind of jazzed about it. Apparently it's coming out on the Switch and it might be a fucking party game that I'll be playing for the rest of my life. So
cool. Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens with Nicktoons Brawl, but it looks pretty good. I gotta say, I'm excited for it.
I like the prospect of it. Just give me Cat Dog. I already know Cat Dog's going to be OP.
Yeah, right. Two. Yeah, right. You got two because you're fighting two of them. You know,
there's an inkling feeling in the deepest part of my bowels where the Cat Dog was born.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so definitely willing to check that out. Moving along.
Good stuff. Let's talk music news and reviews. We got a little section today. Before we dive in, I had the pleasure of recording the live set for Silent Planet and Motives on Thursday at the Foundry.
Mm-hmm.
I will have those up as soon as Leo sends me the audio mix.
Mm-hmm.
But shout out to my lovely girlfriend Isa. Shout out to my boy Greg because they dealt with me on a 5.5 hour drive and they definitely fucking helped out a fuck ton. I literally, while Silent Planet was playing, my battery was on like its last limb, and I texted Isa. I was like, "Hey, I need you to grab the fucking case and like run over here." And she just plowed through the crowd all the way up to the stage to hand me a battery. And I was like, "That's
cool. That's sick, bro." Yeah, man. I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you didn't have to worry about any drama when it comes to that whole situation. And I'm looking forward to seeing the footage myself. So
yeah, I got Motives multicam done. I'm still working on the Silent Planet one just because they played for a fucking hour and 20.
Oh my goodness.
So it's in the works, but yeah, it was a good time. I had a blast with everyone, and what else? Anything exciting happen? No, it's just nice being like buddy with like
a band that you like,
the local scene. Yeah,
that, and I hear you got another little project coming up soon as well.
Yeah, Greg and I have our next 2 shows booked. So
interesting. Keep an eye on Gabe's YouTube channel for anything live set related, and if you got any suggestions, let him know. I'm sure he'll make a trip out if he has to.
Yeah, tag the band too.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. Really quick shout out to a band called A Moment in Pompeii. I caught the end of their set. Oh my god, stupid fucking heavy. Those dudes are shredded. Dude's got like a snapping turtleneck in all the right ways. It's just fucking great. Not the leathery bit, just the bulkiness.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
But yeah, they were fucking mean. And then Greg was like, "Oh, I've been listening to them." I was like, "That seems a little out of your ballpark, but I'm glad you enjoyed it."
Yeah, for sure. Very, very cool. I'm glad you had a good time.
Good stuff. So, Halsey, you put this here.
I did. So I was going to do a full bore review of her most recent album, and I know that's kind of strange, but the reason why I picked it, or why it picked me, I should say, is because if you had to take one guess who produced this album, who would you guess?
Will Putney.
No. Better.
The dude who did Subliminal Verses.
No, not Rick Rubin. No.
Then, no idea.
Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they produced this album. And it's kind of a concept album because I guess recently she became a mom and she's kind of talking about like the triumph and tragedy of being a mom. Doesn't speak to me obviously because I'm a dad, but my wife liked it a whole lot. She was jamming to it. I will say production is fucking fantastic.
Well, I mean, it's Trent Reznor.
Yeah. I know I'm not breaking any ground by saying Reznor could write a fucking song. The dude's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for a fucking reason. And, yeah, just musically it's very, very beautiful. And Halsey's great. I like her. I think she's really talented. So, I like the album. Like I said, I'm not doing a full blown review because I don't have the mental capacity to do that right now. But yeah, definitely check it out. Very cool. The women will love it because of the story that she's telling. So
cool. Let's talk some Zao.
Zao. So fucking Zao, man. Some of the OG godfathers of like Christian metalcore, and they dropped an album called The Crimson Corridor. Again, kind of similar to the Halsey thing. I'm not going to get too crazy into detail about it. All I know is that I love every second of it.
Cool.
I just love the production, the intentional production choices that they made when it comes to making their shit sound like it's straight out of 1999. You know?
I mean, when you have OGs that did it well back in the day, they're going to do it well now. And it's one of those things where I was talking about like classic anime movies with somebody over the weekend, and I was like, there's a live action remake of Cowboy Bebop coming out, but part of that attraction is that weird like VHS graininess from it. And you can apply that same sort of mentality towards especially shit in the hardcore scene.
Absolutely. And yeah, man, the shit slaps. Like it's kind of similar to Sanction to me. Well, obviously, I think Sanction's similar to Zao, but you get the point. It's kind of in that ballpark where it's kind of this unrelenting kind of mismatches of songs, and in a weird way, some weird spaces they try to get kind of more soft and tender, which is I don't mind. I like a little bit of levity. But yeah, man, definitely check it out if you're a fan of that style. Which again, it's a very particular style. It's that late '90s, early 2000s like metalcore Christian vibe. Straight in it, it's fantastic. So, there's what it is.
Zao crawled. So, like, what's their face? August Burns Red. Sweet baby Jesus. So August Burns Red.
You are fried today, man.
Yeah, a little bit. It's been a long day.
I feel. Cool. But yeah, for sure. Next,
let's get into the next album. So, the Plot and You released an album called Swan Songs. Did you listen to it?
I did.
Who do you want to go first?
You go first.
Sure. So, as you and everybody else may know, I was super excited for this album. Mm-hmm. I've been sort of hooked on Disposed since it came out, and it's one of 4 or 5 albums I gave a perfect 10 out of 10 rating. And I don't like to hand those things out, especially not immediately. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I usually give them a 9, and then if they sort of stand the playback test of time, right, I will gradually bump it up to a 10. Mm-hmm. That hasn't changed. Swan Songs is an interesting culmination of musical tones and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So let me start off by saying I do like this album. I think there's a lot of fun stuff going on here with the sort of the variety you get. It's like being at like at Epcot, right? As wild as that sounds, you get a little bit of everything in this album. Mm-hmm. You get a little bit of poppiness, you get a little bit of breakdown, you get this and that, you get a lot of fucking synths, but overall you're still having a good time, right? Mm-hmm. I do like it. My biggest sort of gripe with it, and probably the reason I'm not going to love it is that it is sort of a segmented experience. Now, I will say, this thing is absolutely chock full of bangers. Like, they open up with a really sad song, Letters to a Dead Friend. I mean, Face Me, love that song. Too Far Gone, Paradigm, Too Heavy. There's a lot of quality here. And I'm glad they didn't take the easy way out with, just copying and pasting the same production and the same sort of musical values from Dispose onto this. It's definitely its own unique experience. I just wish there was a little bit more consistency. So it's a double-edged sword, right?
Okay.
I praise it for its versatility, but I also ding it a little bit because it's not a little bit more consistent. It does a lot of things, and it does a good chunk of them well. No doubt to that. But I'm glad they've proven that they're not just a one-trick pony, because you and I had the same sentiment about Dispose, and then you sort of said it. I said I was super excited for it, and you're like, bro, like, relax, they have one S-tier album. And I was like, okay, yes, like, recontextualize it for me. And I like it. It gets a solid B+ out of me.
Okay. I'm actually really glad that I let you go first, because I would think that my sentiments and yours line up pretty closely on this one. Now, what I will say is that it's an absolute phenomenal performance by Landon, right?
In production.
His performance on this album should be commended, because he did such a great job of, bringing up a variety of different skills that he has as a songwriter, as a singer, as a screamer. He really kind of puts his best foot forward. But like you said, it is very segmented. The way I can best describe it is like you're at like a festival that has like a lot of different music, and you're standing somewhere between Justin Bieber and North Lane. And
it feels almost like a collection, like a greatest hits, right? Because everything is so good and the quality's there, but like it doesn't have flow between it. Yeah,
for sure. There's not a whole lot of communication from point A to point B when it comes to the story that they're trying to tell. And I know contextually and maybe lyrically there is a tone that they're going for. But musically, that tone is not there. It does not match throughout, which could be a good thing or bad thing. One of my favorite albums of all time doesn't have a whole lot of musical continuity, and that's 1,000 Suns by Linkin Park. But with this particular effort, I will say easily, by far, it is their second best thing they've ever done. I can say that with confidence. But it's definitely a step down from where we left off. It's still a really good album. Like I said, I'll give it that. I probably most definitely agree with you on the grade on that. But to me, it very quickly, and this is something that Dispose never did, it very quickly, especially that second or third listen through, fell to the background. It became background noise very quickly to me. And that's something that Dispose still doesn't do to this day. So not a bad effort. We'll see what happens next. But yeah, that's kind of my opinion on that.
It's really sort of upsetting because it is a great album, right? But now, because sort of the musical scene is coming back, we have so many titans dropping albums this year. Like Zao, obviously, we have an Every Time I Die album. And this next one, Spiritbox. So I think it's funny how long it took for you to sort of get on this thing.
Yeah.
Right? I'm glad you did, though, because I
fought it so hard.
You know what dawned on me today? I don't think the internet has been this excited for a band since Beartooth.
I agree.
Because, let's just dive into it. They dropped an album called Eternal Blue.
Yep.
It is 12 songs, I think like 34, 35 minutes, give or take. You go ahead, start plowing through. This is your band.
Really, the thing that I want to harp on is that metalcore doesn't really have stars, right? I think there are very few bands out there that legitimately have superstar quality musicians in their band. I think obviously Ollie Sykes is one of them, right? I put Sam Carter in that same category, but really other than them, we don't have stars. You can add Courtney LaPlante to that list. She is a complete package. And I think it's very interesting considering she came from I Wrestled the Bear Once as like the replacement vocalist. And kind of took over and kind of working in the shadows of the previous vocalist before her. And, obviously that band has since broken up. And now she's got this project with her husband, who was also in I Wrestled the Bear Once. and they're doing this project, and it's just better. It's just better than most things that are out. And for a band that doesn't have like a full length, this is their first full length. I think they set a very high standard that everybody else is going to have to try to keep up with. Because the performance on every aspect of this band, on every aspect of every song on this album is God tier, just about. And to me, it's like up there. Maybe it's wrestling with another Titan, which obviously we'll talk about the year in review at the end of the year. But there's another Titan at the top of this list right now. Again, this is right now as of September 20th, that she's wrestling with. To see if
Is it the bear?
Huh?
Is it the bear?
No.
Damn. Because then they would have had to say I wrestled the bear twice.
Oh my God. I fucking hate. All right. That's the podcast. Thanks, guys. No, but yeah, she's wrestling with a Titan right now. And obviously there's a lot, like you said, there's Every Time I Die, there's Under Oath. Like there's a lot of really good.
A lot of shit coming out.
Yeah. A lot of really good music coming out. But right now this is very close near the top of my favorite albums, of the year. So very, very cool. And they should be proud because I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I have not been this excited about a band since Beartooth's first album.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you like them. I know I had to push pretty hard for you to get to even listen to fucking Holy Roller, the song that has 9.5 million listens on Spotify.
I fought it, dude. I fought it so hard. I really did.
But sometimes you get into stuff late because of your own sort of like recognition and whatever. It's a very quality album. I like it. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I will say though, for a Sam Carter feature, I would put this kind of like middle of the road for the album. And dude, they just feel so wrong. Like I want to vomit saying that, right? But like I do, like Silk and the Strings, man. Like, fuck. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff in this album. It's chock full of work, talent, emotion, fucking great progressions and lyricism. I think this is one of those things that like you can show your non-metal friends and they'll be like, yeah, I fuck with it. For sure. And I don't know, man, it's great to see that they're doing so well because I remember when Holy Roller came out and everybody was kind of like, ooh, I don't know. And now everybody's sort of like, this is the next big thing. And it's nice kind of seeing it in an agreement. And it's, I say Holy Roller has 9.5 million listens, right? But like for some reason, this still feels like a small band to me, even though I know they're not. You know what I mean? For sure. I feel like this is a testament to sort of their expected trajectory, we can say, right? Yep. I totally agree. I don't want to like throw it out there or say anything along the lines, but it feels like if Spiritbox plays their cards right, they could be the next like Bring Me the Horizon. I agree. Wholeheartedly. Which is literally the superstar, like world touring status. Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with that. And it just makes me that much more excited to see them with Under Oath and Every Time I Die. Yeah, should be fun. Which is the reason why I gave in, by the way. Because they were on because you were going to see them live? Yeah. Well, better to scream along in your home than to discover that you love this roofie band. Yeah, before I start fucking doing cartwheels and shit in the pit. Yeah. Quick little segue. The Metro at Chicago today tweeted that Metallica is playing tonight. Tickets were $20, limited to one person, and you can only buy them like at the booth. That thing sold out stupid fucking quick. In an hour. Metallica. Yep. At the Metro. And apparently it was been where Knuckle Puck plays. Apparently it was like they hadn't played it in like 28 years or something like that. Where Knuckle Puck. I mean, not to like no not to give them shit, but like just to put it in perspective. Like you want to talk about world famous superstars? Yeah. Imagine saying like Bring Me the Horizon at like the Bottom Lounge. Beat Kitchen. Now. Yeah, the Beat Kitchen, right? Like that's probably the better comparison here. Well, it's funny because you could have given Metallica fans a week and they would have sold out Soldier Field. You know what I mean? Like to give them like 10 hours notice, if that, 3 hours notice,
play a show at the Metro. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's gonna be nasty.
I'm sure it's bananas, yeah.
Let's talk certified bangers of the week. I
Sure.
want to go bottom up with this one.
Okay.
Silent Planet released a single. I decided to see it and listen to it live before I listened to the album cut. It's called Terminal. Holy shit, it is so good. I know you weren't so crazy about Panopticon.
Mm-hmm.
I will say it's pretty nutty live. It's a fucking blast live. But Terminal, holy dumb fuck, dude. If there's like a sound, a frequency, a vibe that they should hardcore like nosedive into, it's whatever the fuck they're doing on this.
Gotcha.
They're channeling some fucking like Deftones. They're channeling like early Silent Planet. Like, I know it doesn't make sense, but just bear with me. I love everything about this song. I love the meaning behind it. I love the instrumentals. I love the production. I love the fucking weird guitar feedback you get in some of it. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know. This is like, this might have been their best single since Psych Escape, and that's a hot take.
Okay.
And you know I love Northern Fires.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. What'd
you think?
Well, I actually haven't listened to it yet, so I got to check it out.
What?
Sorry, dude. I'm a busy guy, you know. It took me 7 months to get to fucking Spiritbox for crying out loud. Give me a break.
For real though, you got to listen to it.
I'll check it out. I'm gonna download it now.
Check out the music video. It's a longer music video. It's a little longer than the song, but it'll tug at your heartstrings real good.
I'm gonna have to download it right now. Actually, give me one.
Yeah.
Second.
Did you listen to this next one? Bring Me the Horizon.
I did.
Die for You. Go ahead. It's okay.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. The thing that I like the most is the cadence of the fucking chorus. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
That cadence
is chorus, that's for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're just like top god tier when it comes to writing a good chorus. I like it. I like the kind of the contrast that they try to mix in with Ali screaming, because again, like, it seems like he's screaming at me, reminding me that he could still scream, that shut the fuck up, basically. But
it's like that dude in your hometown who says, "Oh, I would have made it to the NFL if I didn't tear my ACL."
Exactly.
But the difference is that he did tear his ACL and he is still in the NFL. and that motherfucker is Tom Brady. You're living in the same town as Tom Brady.
Yeah, basically, and yeah, I like it. Not my favorite song, obviously, but I have liked the last few releases that we've talked. You and I waxed poetic about the Survival Horror EP, but yeah, I like it, and I'm looking forward to kind of what's next.
Cool. Yeah, I know Posthuman 2 is in the works at the moment. It's fine and dandy. I like Bring Me the Horizon. I'm sort of at this point where they do so fucking much. I think it would be almost unreasonable to love everything, you know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
And I was listening to it today actually, and I just had this like thought. I was like, dude, their manager 10 years ago must have been having a fucking heart attack, but their manager now is just like, go in the studio. I don't care if you rip ass into the mic, just make it sound good. Just release whatever the fuck it'll sell.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I don't love it, don't hate it. It's there. Will we see it? Maybe. You and I have both come to terms with what Bring Me the Horizon was, is, and will be.
Correct.
So I do love the sort of bouncing back and forth, the contrast, like you mentioned, not only in the single itself, but like from Posthuman to Die for You to whatever the fuck comes out next.
Yeah. I heard a little.
Always keeps you on your toes, and that's kind of fun.
Heard a little rumor that Miley Cyrus is supposed to be featured on the next EP for that.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, let's wait and see what that sounds like. But yeah, next up, Ice Nine Kills, Rainy Day. First off, I'm calling bullshit just due to the fact that they didn't do a song about the movie. They did a song about the game, which is like directly contrasting their whole gimmick. With that being said, if I'm in the band, I'm calling dibs on the fucking tactical gear because I'm not putting on fucking makeup or a mask. And number 3, it's hype.
Yeah, it's hype.
It's all right. Good chorus.
It's September 20th as of today, so the Ice Nine Kills dudes are going to be creeping around your block.
Correct.
So just leave your $50 for the record and the fucking T-shirt to come in the mail.
Correct.
It's like milk and cookies for Santa, but Spencer Charnas. We had a fun with sort of the last album, and they're a good live show, but with sort of everything happening in and around the band at the moment, I can't do it, dude. That's just my take on it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm going to keep tabs on it just because I kind of like to poke fun at him at this point. And I do like the music's fine. Like there's nothing like musically, there's nothing wrong with it. It's almost like at this point, I'm just against what they stand for at this point. You know what I mean? Like it's like every day's Halloween. It's like, yeah, that's great in October, but it's not great in fucking December, you know?
Fun fact, they hibernate from March till August at your local Hot Topic.
Shit. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's all right. The song's good, I guess. My least favorite music video that they've dropped, though, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and they've had some bad ones, too. That's for fucking sure.
Not great. So that's kind of my opinion on that. Moving along.
Yeah, let's plant a seed with this next one. We came as Roland's Black Hole. Yeah, thank you. I feel like you've been getting worse at these segues, and I've just been on top of my goddamn game.
Yeah, we came as Roman's Black Hole featuring what's his fucking name? Oh my god. Caleb Shomo. Oh my god, I forgot like his fucking name. Yeah. Good track. I think, and again I say this every time that they drop new music, I think that they will bounce back perfectly fine from Kyle's passing. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that was 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think they're going to do just fine without him.
Yeah. It's we've seen bands take hits like that and never recover. And I'm glad that they can continually write, improve, and innovate on their own sound. Because as much as everybody loves to plant a seed, it's not the same band anymore. Sure, they'll play the songs, but they've sort of matured, and you can tell that in what they lay down in the studio. And keep an eye out for them, man. They're going to be around.
It's definitely a much more mature effort than anything they've done the last couple of tracks.
Dude, they were, 17, 18, 19?
Probably, yeah. So
to be expected.
For sure,
They're putting down jazz albums soon.
Right? Absolutely. So, I believe that was episode...
one last thing.
Oh, okay.
New Devil Wears Prada song coming out soon.
I heard.
And then Jeremy said, it's not just the song. So, I think they did a little more than Z2 in the studio, buddy.
I mean, I would hope so. If somebody's like, okay, I'm really excited for it, but can I please get my Z2 vinyl? Because they were so backed up the artist. Somebody's like, we're working on it. I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
I do have mine, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, I had a record come in that I bought a year ago.
Yeah.
And my buddy Ahmad ordered a copy as well. Now, I ordered mine probably 2 weeks before he did, but clearly they shipped them out in alphabetical order because my last name starts with a fucking W and his initials are AA. And I'm just like, why did you get yours a whole 6 weeks before I got mine? I'm going to strangle you. So, yeah, mine came in like a few days ago. His came in like the beginning of August. Very,
very cool. That's funny, actually. All right. Well, I believe that was episode 173.
173
of the Second City Kids podcast. We'll see you back next time for episode 174.
174.
And yeah, like I said, it's going to be that kind of our spooky dooky Halloween episode featuring my rewrite of Halloween 6 and
maybe even a review on the new Halloween.
Yeah, with that, probably even a review of the new movie as well, because I imagine it'd probably be about a month from now. Yeah, that lines up. So thank you guys for joining us this time on the Second City Kids podcast, and we will indeed see you next time. Deuces.